Does everybody know what a telegram is when you receive something? A letter? Hmm? You receive a package, okay? Noted and stated and stamped, receipted. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to get you guys to understand the modification system, how the avatar basically sent a letter to you, and it tells you everything that you have to go through, right? Because you've already been through it. So it's just like a telegram. It's giving you a message, how to understand all levels of you, of your vessel, how to operate the system that's already inside, right? That's all it is. That's all this is. It's the avatar giving back the message to you. So in that process, you have to go through all over again into the body. Now, this is higher, deeper core now. Higher levels of calculation setting, higher levels of relationship to its system. So I'm going to keep saying this again and again and again until you understand the body itself is its own vessel. The avatar itself is its own vessel. You are your own vessel. Okay? And that's all stated, stamped, receipted, and mailed to you. How to use it and synchronize yourself into yourself through computer operation. Noted in all facts of a letter. Each page is an indication of you coming closer to you. A set design, which you already are. Not what you're coming into, what you are. Okay? So, in that position, those locations and settings, it's really about understanding how to identify myself in a deeper core. How do I do that? I'm reading the letters. It's making sense, but it's not making sense. But what does this all mean? Hypothetically, theatrically, how you want to see it is how you want to see it. So when something is given to you, it's not a coincidence. It's identity, it's a purpose, it's an existence. Getting that letter gets you in a better understanding. To understand each page is for you to really how to grasp, how to operate the mechanisms of you through mind of navigation of travel. I'm trying to break this down so you understand the process of the mind, the brain, the heart, the soul, and the body, how to use it through remote, sleep mode, recharge, right? Because you're totally exposed. And that's also stated in the letter, okay? It doesn't get any more powerful than that, does it? An avatar gives you a letter, stamp preceded, okay? Coming from you. That's right, it's you versus you. It's always been you. So you are identifying you, not for the first, not for the second, not for the third time. You already are who you are. So the actual setting in position, that's everything stated and noted and stamp preceded, is already done. Okay? So you just get in position lines of referencing it and realize, wow, this is amazing. I'm starting to understand how to use the mechanisms of me all through that letter. 500,000 pages, right? So it's like reading a book, understanding the book, right? Why do you think you're giving books? Why do you think you're giving information? What is the first thing that picks up in your mind? Images, characters, stories, projectors, a projection, and how to put those characters in order. You're all writers of your own setting. Okay. What you're doing is basically trying to get you in configuration of a story self, of a recognition of self, which is already of self knowledge that you have through access of, through his technology. Knowing how to use that, you already have. You're not coming into technology. You already have the access to technology. But every time you read a page of that letter that your avatar sent to you, everything comes in fruition of light and better understanding. Okay? Because that's what books do. They enrich your lives. And basically, when you're reading it, you're seeing it through an image. You're seeing it through characters. You're seeing it through a story frame. You're seeing it through narrative. Okay? And you can change that through frame. Okay? In the book that you're reading. Okay? But that's going beyond, isn't it? Right? You're just cutting the surface and you're just reading a book. And when you're reading that book, you're seeing the image. And what that image is doing is a film strip of its design. There's no difference when you go into that through remote. So when you're in this position to its location settings, what is happening with the story, with the seconds, minutes, and hours? Okay, what's over here? What's up here? What's down here? What's over here? What's back here? What's up there? What's over there? What's over there? Identifying what is happening with the story that's going in its system. All right. So I'm just showing you, right? Once you come into what is happening, everything starts making sense through its film strip. Okay. And that film strip is basically processing its data and its story. So as the projector, as going through the projection, you're seeing the images, okay, of what's already done. Okay. So I want you to get a better understanding. The mapping sequence is already done. So all you're doing now in that position location is coming back to everything you have already through attraction. That's already mapped out for you. So when you go into remote or anything through sleep mode or anything through recharge, what is happening? It's adding frames and it's continuing its path. It's constantly going forward. It's a continuous force. It doesn't go back. It just continues along with the projection of its film, except it's not a 2-hour film. It's not a 3-hour film. It's not a 4-hour film. It's an infinity of an expansion that never stops running its system. Okay? It constantly moves. It constantly keeps going forward. It never stops its setting. Its intelligence of its teleportation is a constant flow of recognition. Okay? So getting a better understanding how this all works, then you understand more lines of the film strip and set design, right? That's already done, right? So what the brain is doing is putting everything in chronological order. The mind is putting everything in navigation. The heart is setting everything in time. The soul is identified for everything through light. And the body is setting everything through its vessel of its travel. Through its connections of what it sees and its perspective through its schematics. Because it's just an image. And that image is already done. That film strip is already done. So you're coming to everything in position of its attraction, of its map that's already done. Okay? 24 hours is done. You get up. 48 hours is done. Better relationship with the hardware, better relationship with the software, better relationship with the mind of navigation, better relationship with the heart, better relationship with the soul, better relationship with the body capacitor of its vessel. Okay? So the more you let go, the more you see through clarity and focus and command. You let yourself go. Same with the energy, the vibration, the frequencies, the harmonics, the understanding, the non-understanding. Let everything go. It knows what it's doing. It's a continuous force that just keeps going. It's a film strip that never stops running its system. It keeps going and going and going and faster and faster and faster. It never stops. It never stops. It never stops. Okay? The only thing that stops is you not understanding how to get into the mind and navigation to your vessel of communication, which is creating drama. Okay, so it affects the film strip of design that's already set up for you in space and time through its alteration of its state. You have a mind state, you have a conscious state. Okay, you have awareness state, you have identification state, you have a modification and a vessel state of the mind itself through capacity. Okay, so it gets much easier if you just let everything go, right? The body is an autopilot. So it's following those breadcrumbs. So once you read all those letters, you understand your vessel. Oh, I understand it now. A light bulb goes on. Wow. Epiphany. Boop. Light bulb, right? It clicks in. I understand that now. So the central system of the vessel itself understands the body of itself to its avatar of itself, puts me of self-modification of my vessel of myself, puts everything back in balance. And when I say back in balance, I'm talking about the B, okay, is the balance on its own. All right. The A is awareness of its own. The L is its level of its own. The A, okay, is what to attract locations. Whatever it means to you is what it means to everything else. You are your own programmers of your own programming system. What balance means to you means something different to everybody else. I'm trying to get you guys to understand these things. Everything you see is a program that you need to get out of, or you never understand everything, how it works through the film strip that's already set in its position of space and time through alteration of the state of the mindset that puts everything of its awareness and consciousness together. Right? So the more you focus on that, the more you focus on you, me, myself, and I, everything comes into clarity and focus. And then you ask yourself, wow, I just saw 48 hours of myself already done. Now I see 3 days. Now I see 5 days. Now I see 7 days. Now I see a month. Now I see 6 months already done. 6 months is already done. Okay, so you're reeling it in, reeling it in, reeling it in, reeling it. The brain is already set up. The brain is already in the VR. The body's in the VR. The mind's in the VR. The soul's in the VR. Everything's in the VR. Nothing's left the VR system. But you got to do it all over again through the body. Because the mind, the heart, and the soul is done. Right? So again, when you read that letter, everything starts making sense. 500,000 pages starts making sense. Focusing on yourself at all times. Not when you feel like, I don't want to focus on myself. I'm going to focus on something else. Yeah. Not to provisionalize the cycles or anything through trackification system. So you are attracting everything which you already have. Okay. You don't come into anything new. You're co-creators. You're not creators until you understand what co-creation means. Co-creation is a mapping sequence that's already in setting to your film strip, a set design. The mind itself is trying to understand you. The brain itself is trying to understand you. Okay? The heart itself is trying to understand you. The soul is trying to understand you. Okay? And the body is trying to understand you. Okay? Understanding the operation is understanding how it's all put together. Okay? Then you understand what's going on with 2, 3, or 4 days or 5 hours I did in position of track lines and a 24 cycle. Okay? There's a reason why you take naps. There's a reason why you go into sleep mode. There's a reason why you go into recharge. Okay? There's a reason why you go into remote. This is about you identifying you of who you really are, which is already done. Okay? Because nothing is in a certain position of location. It's going too fast. So the body itself is in the VR system. It's not here, but it's everywhere all at once. Everything that you communicate through is timelines all at once. Everything you see is timelines all at once. There's nothing left to chance because it's a film strip that just keeps running its system, running its system. A computer runs programs, it doesn't do anything else. Okay? The one thing everybody has to get into in positions of is how to control their patterns of behavior of the game that they're in. This is a psychosis of you, understanding you, all volumes of you. Okay? Not who you're interacting with, just you. Processing you, understanding you, volumes, vast, velocity, vacuum, acceleration, Mach, formula, equation, all levels of you. You have to get out of the programs you see, or you're never going to understand why you're in a body of a vessel which you are already in. You're not coming into something new. You're coming to who you are. Okay? So understanding that through co-creation, then creation is beyond recognition, which means you understand the altered state of the memory, which means you understand each page is a representation of me, which is all volumes of me, which it all aligns its communication of me, which is me, myself, and I. So every time I get up in the morning, I'm talking about myself. I'm understanding myself, the volumes of myself, the velocity, the accelerations. I understand the communication of myself. I understand the XT1000s of myself. Myself, not the XT1000s. You have to understand your position, how to morph, and how you see things through perspective. You have to morph into everything to become nothing. Hoo-ah. Nothing is a formation of space where there's no clutter, there's no thoughts in any way and form. Okay? So the only thing you focus on is you. You're distracting yourself from yourself and nothing else. Keeping yourself in the nothingness. It's not about keeping yourself, you're already there, but it's understanding what the nothingness is meaning to you, not anybody else. Okay? What is the awareness to you? Not anybody else. What is the consciousness to you? Not anybody else. Okay? What is its self-identity to you? Not anybody else. Okay? It's self-modulation. It's self-motivation. It's self-identity. Okay? It's all levels of you. Understanding you, how to operate you through operation. Nobody else. You can't go to anybody else. They're going through the same process, just like you. And I keep saying it again and again and again, focus on yourself, especially when you're reaching higher levels of the mind. Okay? The most powerful thing is identifying you inside, how to operate your system. Okay? And then you understand position lines of why this happened, where, when, who, and what. Okay? It all comes together through the how. The how is the operation of unification, puts everything to its ascension, of its awakening. Okay? Awakening and the ascension are two different lines of factors of identity. Okay? The ascension is going through the process. The awakening is waking up through the heart. The unification is you understanding your avatar. Unification, ascension, awakening. Okay? So everybody is going through their own spiritual growth of their self-identity, which they already know. And once you go into remote, everything comes into a film strip of design. You understand more lines of communications. You see more levels of you in the future of the now. And then you start seeing everybody of your family in the future of the now. So don't get confused to that. The more you focus on yourself, the more clarity you see of its image of design. When I went into transformation lines, I went into files. I went into computers, I went into operations system, I would try to understand what it is through theta and what I was seeing through its imagination, through its application to its modification setting. But I was constantly communicating with myself all the time, all the time, all the time. So being 100% of your imagination equals phenomenon. Okay? Phenomenon. Understanding AI, awareness of its information, of its intel, people. Okay? Intelligence. Put you levels of all lines of phenomena, how you see things through its perspective or its perception, or how you see things through light, and how you see things through dark, how you see things through structure, how you see things through metrics, how you see things through each other. Is reaction and response. Okay? The most powerful thing is to recognize your ancestry, your history, and your celestials of you. So the more you go into the mind, the more the mind understands you. The more you go into the brain, the more the brain understands you. I'm talking about the brain itself. I'm not talking about the brain you have. Okay? So don't get confused in that position. That creates drama on its own self. Recognizing why you have a brain, why you have eyes, why do you have a nose, why do you have ears, why do you have a mouth, why do you have a neck, why do you have hair? You have no concept, no value, no understanding. What it is and why it's here is its purpose of its existence. Why do you wear glasses? It's not just to see. Okay? You know, there are glasses on the earth, but in space, there's something else, all right? Lens of communication lines, direct lines of highest interference, solar panels, core track interference, and window frames. That's what these are. Right? But I also know they're just glasses. See? That's all it is. That's the balance. So you're constantly seeing things through a theta of an operation line screen that puts everything in quantum lines of communication setting to its nothingness of its awareness of its consciousness, to its self-identification setting, to understand how to use your vessel of communication, of transmitting and receiving information location to your DODs. You're messengers of God's. Every single one of you. Every single one of you. Knowing how to use that is uplifting everybody else. Your presence alone is enough. You don't have to do anything. Okay? Once you understand the synchronizations is your avatar. That's done everything. The body just has to understand each page that is given to you. Then you understand the process. Then you understand the operation. Then you understand the pages you're reading and why you're reading the pages. Because it all comes together, which you already know through its alignment. Okay? Understanding what happens when you go into remote, because you're fully exposing yourself through light, through dark. You're in the fields, you're illuminating yourself, and you're not even in position of protecting your system. You're in the fields, and everything around you is seeing you. That's drama on its own, because you don't understand what you're seeing in the VR system where you are already in position. You've never left. You've always been there. But you're creating these things and not understanding what you're creating. That's drama on its own. You don't understand how to use the mind, how to use the brain, how to understand the heart through time, and the soul and the body through capacity of its vessel. Your body is a vessel of its own system. You are a vessel of your own system. Your avatar is its own vessel of its own system. It's got to come together. Okay? Then you understand the synchronization. Okay? But each lines of all communication system has to be healed through its ancestry, history, and its celestial settings, through its film strip that's already set for you guys. Okay? Through its hardware and through its software. A space and time through mechanism lines of travel. Through its operation system, understanding how to use your vessel of communication, of transmitting and receiving information. There's so many ways seeing yourself. It's all levels of you inside. Understanding how to use the light web and the dark web. Okay? Now, we spent 24 line minutes and 50 seconds in correlation lines of center interference of 24 line communications of 4 lines of thumbs up and volume. Right? So either you understand that's being understood, or you're not understanding of what needs to be understood. Okay? So it's all levels of view that volumes you through vast velocity, acceleration, and Mach, or anything that you do through the application of calculations. But everything is done. Okay? You can't alter the past, the present, and the future if it's already set up, guys, because the avatar has already done it. So if you understand those pages of the book that the avatar is giving to you, then you understand the process, right? Because there's not a beginning and there's not an end. It's just a continuous force that keeps running the system. When you look at nature, nature knows exactly what's going on. All right? But see, this is the thing. Nature is not in its memory until it understands its memory of its nothingness, which is everything upsetting, right? So that's the nothingness, where there's nothing left to chance. The actual nothingness is no clutter. The actual nothingness is just space of itself. Nothing's coming in. Where's that? Where's that coming from? That's noise. That's bothersome. Okay? So you have to really understand how that works through the nothingness, and then you understand the awareness of consciousness of you, right? You have to understand you first. And I get technical. Getting technical is what you guys thrive on. You got to get out of that. You've got to get out of titles and labels of everything that you see around you. This is not a phone, right? Because I'm in space. Now it's a phone because I'm on Earth. So it's a direct line of sight and how we see things in all lines of communications. Try to understand the process. This is its own vessel. This is its own vessel. It's light, it's travel. See, look. See the light? See the design? Everything's communication. See? Everything that I do, it changes, right? See, look. Setting code, see? What is it doing? It's trying to communicate with you through light. Okay? This doesn't need to understand its system. Because you attracted it. You brought it through its attention. This is in chronological order. So every time you pick this up, it's helping you to understand the design of the pages that you read in position to its locations that your avatar gave you to read, all through observation. Okay? And when I say your avatar, that's synchronization. But it's not your soul until you identify your body as a vessel of itself, a modification. Okay? And it's tricky. It's very tricky. The body itself is its own setting. It doesn't need to be convinced, but you have to be convinced why you have a body in the first place. How to use it, another thing, right? And understand when you get in position, you're automatically in remote. Okay? When you're in that setting, you have no control until you understand the body and how to use it through its vessel of communication. Okay? And that's what you have to understand. Okay? Because it creates drama. If you get up in the morning and you see things different, you are no longer in your universe. You're in somebody else's galaxy. You're in somebody else's setting. You're in somebody else's volume. You're in somebody else's vast. You look in position. That is not my sun. That's not my moon. What is that doing over there? I didn't put that in there. That's drama. Okay? Because you didn't take time to understand when you go into remote right away, you are in position of location on that 24 cycle that you've already been through. Right? You're seeing the 2-second rule. You're seeing the future of the now. All right? So if you let that go, you're no longer seeing the past. You're no longer seeing the present. You're only seeing what you need to see, which is the now. Right? But if you get confused through its film strip of setting, You're confusing yourself on calculation, right? How it's all set up. Everything's set up for you, but you have to understand the vessel and how it operates its own system of its own setting of its technology. This is its own technology. This is its own vessel, and this is its own GOD. Okay? This is its own vessel, but it's a collaboration and it's a partnership. This is its own vessel. It's a collaboration, but it's a partnership, right? Do you understand that? For hearing, listening to, charging the phone. Partnership, people, collaboration with its intelligence. That's all you have to do is identify its intelligence and not just see it as a phone. That's drama. That's drama put on you because you can't take time to understand that everything around you is in its own GOD. This is a basic grounds and positional confirmation. Thermos. What does it say? Reduce. So it's a structure, right? It's a handle. Has a top. What's inside? What does it contain? Water, storage, facility, data, codes, operation, vessel, GOD, formula, equation. Hua. Partnership, collaboration, one of operation. It doesn't need to identify its system. You have to identify it as soon as you touch it. It's its own operation of its own data. It's giving you data. It's giving you codes. It's giving you formula. You can travel through this just by touching this. It shows you how powerful it is through structure. But it work all together, right? Why it's in structure. Why do we have water? Why do we have a thermos? To build a partnership and a relationship, right? What is its purpose? To drink out of. What is its existence? What is its existence? To contain water inside. So everything you see around you has a partnership of collaboration. It has to. But you have to identify this here, this handle, this is its own intelligence because it's a different shape. Just because it's attached to this doesn't mean it's the same intelligence. Gotcha. So there's a reason why this handle here is its own intelligence of its own coding. Different coding, different coding. Different coding because this is plastic. This is its own intelligence. This rim is its own intelligence. This design here is its own intelligence because it's different from here. This to here is its own intelligence. So what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Right there. 12 dimensions of space, of time, all through collaboration and partnership, all through divisional layers and set locations, all through structure, all through design, all through container of water. That holds the system, all through formula, all through equation of calculations, to its equilibrium of balance. Now, what is it made of? Structure? Atoms, molecules, protons, electrons, neutrons, photons, atoms, moving very fast, but it stays in its panel. See? So I'm holding it right now, but its position is over here now. So it's separating itself, particles, right? That's how I see it, right? It particles and it goes back, goes back. Now it's up here, now it's over here, now it's over here, now it's over here, now it's over here, now it's back here, right? It's done its travel already. It's showing you what it can do through its own travel, through its own particle system, a subparticle setting, or subtronic mind condition setting. Everything is a structure. Your structure, so is everything else. But I just showed you in a 12 division lines, the dimensional lines of the layer, location, setting, that you think all this is one intelligence. Wrong. That is a wrong. Because you're not identified its intelligence to each line and each frame, to each geometric shape is different from everything else. You've got to break it down through structure of design. Hoo-ah! Partnership, people, through its intelligence. What do you think about that? All through thermos. Now it's understanding how important it is, right? To understand you through a vessel, right? And everything else, right? Okay. Mind-blowing, isn't it? All right. Getting position attractions and direct signals. I'm just showing you how powerful it is, because you guys have to get out of the equation that this is just one intelligence. I'm sorry, but there's 12 intelligences in here, right here. All through dimensional location lines of dimensional layers of space and time. But you see it as one structure. That's a program. You've got to break things down through binary and singularity in set locations. All right? All right. Now, reaching deeper cores of view of structure, you have to understand how many division line screen is this in setting? How many layers do you see? To understand that, you have to be close, right? How many layers do you see? Right? You can't see it on the flat surface. You got to see it on layers. You got to see it on layers, right? Because it's going very fast. Okay? Okay? So you never see it on a flat surface. It's a one angle line setting, right? If we get a box line communication to a system, right, you're only seeing one angle. But if you get a circulation rotation, right, you got two angles. There's four angles. There's six angles. There's 8 angles. Okay? Now, in position locations, setting lines like communication setting, all levels of travel. Let's go into blue line cycles, into position lines, high correlation lines, introduct signals, and location to a system. Okay, now you see coming out, right? All right, let's go through cloak and dagger, because it's got to be protected in its own calculation system. So it protects the line's calculation of its identity, who it's communicating with, right? So in that position locations, it comes out through its equation. What's coming out through equation? What's coming out through equation? This. Okay, this is coming out, right? So process this, go in position lines of 1, 2, and 3 track location. Okay. So as it comes out, it line signals its line center, opens all signal location to its setting. Process communicates to grounds, over cross line signals, downshift lines of anomaly in track locations. So 3 lines of communication setting, 1, 2, cross line signals, 1, 3 line rotation, surface, and traction. It's complicated in position, right? So you have to really understand how to use perspective, right? When I took that with drawing, it's really understand how to create it through its anomalies and line position locations, how everything comes together through line signal. How everything comes together through line signal. Intelligence, see it? Intelligence right there, boom, right? Everything's intelligence. So when you're doing drawings, there's always intelligence. There always has to be intelligence. There's always a face of configuration of intelligence. Everything in the VR is set location of in communication of intelligence. You're always in calculation of intelligence, all right? Okay, so track visualizes cycles. Let's go through line position location of panels and line position rotators, line communication of setting. Off signal location setting, let's split lines anomaly in a 4-track location provision. Sets communication lines of grounds, sets lines of center, operation lines of surface. Process communication lines, ground center interference into 1, 2, and 3 platform communication. Cross lines on correlation lines. All right, so here's the avatar. Okay, walking in position of travel lines in set location. All right, comes across a dimensional door. Okay, so I'm just showing you. How to process communication is how you see through spectrum, right? Know exactly what's going on when you get into remote. Right? So what I've done here is already here, up here. This is structure, this is design, but what's here is already done, right? So I'm not giving you something that you don't already know. getting something you already have. So in position, your avatar has to really understand the position of where it is in track location. Okay. Getting direct line signal is a magnetic highway that's always there in its data. You can't get rid of data because it's all levels of view in the atmospheres. It's always going to be there, right? Because it's always upgrading, downloading, uplinking, and upgrading your systems and downgrading locations. It's always in that set locations. So everything you touch, you're getting magnetic highways and setting from its phone, from you. So it's two data highways and correlation lines of traffication of balance, right? Data highway of the phone, data highway of you, right? OMI or Neuralink. So getting that position lines of tractions, let's go through line signals into white. 1, 2, and 3 line communication. See, it's green. It's not white. See, it's green. It's not white. Okay, that's confusing line screens. It's single location optical illusion, but it's green now. See, it's green. You see it as white. But do you see it as green? Do you see it as white, right? The track location is provision. That's our line communication of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 set locations. Mm-hmm. So that position lines of high correlations, 5/4 lines of calculation. All right. Now let's go green, right? Let's see what's in between. Okay. Let's see what's in between. Wires of communication lines, electrical line communication to its setting through travel. Okay. So everything is electrical grid, electrical panels, walking system, and calculation line screen. The more you understand the VR system, the more it comes in correlation lines of calculation. How to recognize that, all the informations, right? So again, you break it down what you want to communicate with. You want to communicate with the 4 platforms or 1 platform of data and process calculation. So track calculation line screens, getting direct line signals in communication to a system, all through operation line cycles and calculation. Now it comes out, right? It's coming out now, all 4. Data highway, 3 platforms. Okay, now I'm using coloration lines of path engines and beta, right? You always have beta because beta is a radio signal and you need that. That's information location that the higher self needs in its human residence. It needs a beta, alpha, delta, and theta. The track location is its imagination, its phenomenon, but position lines of track location lines and data process lines of 3 platforms of communications, communicating with 4 line signals and segregation. Okay? So you have to understand when you're in remote, okay, this is what it is. I'm going to show you. You're like this. Okay, you're lying like this. All right. Now, try to focus what's going on, right? So you hear, and what's going on? Okay, all right, things are coming in, everything's coming to you at different angles. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand what you guys are seeing. And the more you see these things, it's like being in the theater, you're wearing those 3D glasses and everything's coming out of picture frame. Everything's coming out, but you get very confused and you create drama through perception. You get scared, you get anxiety, you get stress, you get fear. And it automatically changes the image of its film projection of design. That's all it is. That's drama. Recognizing what's coming out in position to its image and calculation settings, all levels of travels and modification. Okay? All right. Higher level calculation setting and travels. Remember this in setting? Okay? This is coming out. Okay? 1 second of a frame lines of 1 hour track location lines. 3 site line communication setting and 3 platforms. That's coming out. Now, in that position location, it's just a frame, but I can bring it in positions to all calculation lines. I can put it in the past, I can put it in the present, or I can put it in the future. I can alterate the system. I can change the cross location setting to its own system because I have partnership with the setting of its intelligence. Okay? So I'm making the past how I want to make the past. I'm making the present how I want to make the present. I'm making the future how I want to make the future. Right? But you can't alternate something that's already done in your vessel of communication. All right? Remember that. Sending track location lines to system. Remember this? Through its intelligence. Right? So that's the test on Friday, is basically, I want to see the intelligence, where it came from, where it's going, and where it is now. You have to get identification to its planets, and you have to recognize where it is and track the location system. You have to become partnerships with the settings, and it has to go through its own coding system. All right? Through its own coding system. I didn't do this. Intelligence did it. It's the face recognition that did all this. I didn't do it, but I built a partnership with them, with the intelligence of itself. Okay? That's a balance between both, right? The awareness of consciousness of everything. No difference in settings in this what is in set locations. Everything is its own design, guys. Remember that. Breaking things down through coding. All right. So getting lines of communication setting, things are going to get a lot more easier and tractions, right? Takes you out of confusion locations. Platforms lines of 1, platform lines of 2, platform lines of 3 in set location. Travel point lines of graphs. Center core lines sending high interference, how it lines its communicates to its position of its program. Center core system, travel point lines of graph calculations. Also lines of triangulation line position of its program location to its Merkaba and tesseract tetrahedron. Clauses line condition setting of program location to torical fields. Sets of lines of communication of routers. Opens all signals, opens all platform of communication to an energetic dome and track location. Okay? It's all levels of phenomenon in set location. Okay? All right? So you just bring it out through this equation. All right? So everything comes out when you guys go into mode. So it's like you're at the theater and everything is coming out through its formation of its intelligence. Start recognizing that. It's like looking at the wall and the wall is coming out at you and it's doing this. Say, hey, it's going, right? But you're scanning in. You're seeing the light. You're seeing you, right? That's what it is in provision. Okay, everything comes out. Everything has to come out. And that's what you guys have to realize. See, that's what you're not focusing on. You're not focusing on yourself more enough in position lines of travels and point lines of graphs. Everything comes out through its equation. Everything has to come out through its equation, right? Because that's how the VR system is set up. Location your vessel, communication. What's coming out through equation? This. This is coming out. You can see it coming out. I put it back. But this is what I'm communicating with. Not this, not this, just this. Right? Focusing on all this is a drama. Focusing on one particular setting of its intelligence puts you in balance and set location to your film set and set playing design. Okay? One thing at a time. Right? So if everything's coming at you all at once, break it down. Slow down in space. You are in control. Because if you're not in control, they already know you're in control. But you have to know how to keep yourself in control. Because if you're not putting yourself in control, you've already been taken over through its control of its space and time. Okay? Especially when you get up. And again, you're like this. Oh my gosh, I created drama. Right? How many fields do you want to set up? How many episodes do you want to keep framing yourself? If everything is done, what is left? Understanding your vessel. Understanding the remote of your vessel. Understanding the formations of this vessel. Understanding how to use your vessel through operation. It's the how, guys. How it operates your system. So when you get that in setting, everything in life gets so much more balance in your system. But you have to get in position and become your own data programmers of programming. Because everything in position is in a map right now. Because you brought it in through attraction, through your avatar, not the body. Okay? Not the body, the avatar. Right? So it's again, the avatar is giving you 500,000 pages for you to understand how to use your vessel. Right? And when you go to that last page, it puts you into the first page. Okay? Because there's no beginning and there's no end. It's just a continuous force of pages that keeps running the system, running its computers, running its operation setting. okay, to all set location of expansion into the mind, into the brain, into the heart, okay, into the soul, and into the body of its vessel. You have to understand how to use it, especially when you're going through remote. Okay? Basic grounds, communication setting. All right? So there's a lot of calculation setting and position locations. You don't close your eyes when you're outside, do you? Why would you, right? People are going to be looking at you. This person's closing eyes. Does he know where he's going? Or does she know where she's going, right? That's what I'm talking about. Be consciously aware. So is anything left? What kicks in position that travels? Ears, sonar, echo. Off the table, right? Ears pick up, sonar picks up, echo picks up. So if nothing is left, the map, you know exactly how to close your eyes and direct your system to go outside in calculation. Nothing's moved. Nothing's moved. You didn't move anything. Everything's there. Okay? So it's about directing and redirecting your system when you're in that setting through remote. Right? So you're like this. Okay? The mind's navigating. The brain's in hardware and software. It's already set up. So what's happening now? The position of its image, of its avatar, is giving you the information. It's giving you the information, okay, in that process, okay, of the 24 hours, which is already done in frame, okay, through its day. It's a continuous force day that's the same day, just different frequency. Even the days, month, and years don't exist. There's no calendar. There's no existence of anything. The everything is the nothing, and the nothing is its everything, of its awareness, of its consciousness, knowing exactly that your brain is just a projector of a projection. Okay? That's all this is. Getting it better communication to its setting understands the system. Okay? Right? Password. See that? That's 4/3. Everything's sound. Pick it up. Right? Changed it, right? So, it's just truly standing as you pick up sound everywhere, right? Water dripping. Okay? What's my hand doing? Collaboration, right? Going with the rhythm. Am I doing this? No. The finger's doing it by itself. You got to understand direct and redirect, right? Is that me or is it its intelligence? It's intelligence through its tongue, through its mouth. Everything that's put together is a collaboration, a partnership that you have in your vessel, right? Understand the mechanism of navigation. So every time you speak, you're speaking volume. You're speaking through mass, velocity, acceleration. Okay, all at once. All through clocking, right? All right. 4 provision lines of screens to direct signals and calculation system and all travel calculations. Different. Same table, but different tone. Different, but on the table. Okay? So when I say you have to identify your vessel, you have to understand how to use your senses and your tones and your rhythms and your patterns of behavior. Okay? Snapping fingers. It's never the same. It's a different frequency. right? It doesn't matter how many times I do it, but it's a different frequency. It's always a different frequency. It has to, okay? So as it goes to different frequency, it's constantly protecting its system so nothing comes in its position of its self-identity, right? So getting that position lines as binaries and its transition location to your settings, it's knowing exactly how to communicate with the zeros and ones and traction lines of brackets, or correlate setting position travel lines and communication lines of highest interference of hangers. Okay, icentric correlations into pyramid line conditions in one graph calculation. A face. Whoa, configuration of a face. A smiley face. A frown face. A sequence. A smile. Oh, maybe we got here. Correlation setting track lines. We got teeth. Hey, smiling. You got to have fun, I'm telling you, with your vessel. So the more you have fun, the more it understands you, and the more you understand everything around you. Let me say that again. The more it understands you. So each finger is its own setting. It's absolutely amazing when you look at it. Really look at your hand and see what it is. See the mechanism. See the force of its own system. Its own collaboration. It has its own intent, guys. It has its own system. Understands its own setting. This is its vessel. That's a vessel. That's a vessel. That's a vessel. That's a vessel. The palm's a vessel. Your wrist is a vessel. Your arm's a vessel. Your elbow's a vessel. Everything is its own system of its position line that comes together. It's the pieces and puzzles. Okay? Ridges, right? Corner ridges. Okay? All lines of different intelligence. Putting a frame position together, right? Center operation of you comes together. Brings it together. Brings it together. Okay? Brings it together. Okay? Has to come together of a collaboration of a partnership and self-identity. Okay? Get it into the platforms of travel. Okay? Get into the process of communication downshifts of travel. Get into the data operation line calculation setting and highways of travel, or downshift cross locations off calculation lines of travel. Right? Understanding the magnetic highway of you in travel of data, a process of travel. Okay? So that's how you start identifying your system. If you go core track line in high centers, there's a happy face, right? It goes line to correlation lines and position locations. It's two things in lines and factors. Smiles and cries. That's all you have, nothing else. Right? Okay. Happy, confused. Triangulation line, screen, high adaptation lines at high surface. Okay. Oh, what's going on here? Right? Triangulate position lines, high center location system, all levels. Okay. And track location. Different lines of configuration, all through box frame. Okay. But it's all levels of you. It's all levels of you. It's all levels of you and set location. What do we have in track line calculated setting? Gecko. Right? So, there's so many ways of looking at these things. And once you understand more lines of graph calculations, everything comes into fruition locations. But you got to have fun with it. Have fun when you're in that position of these settings and set locations. It's like you're playing the game, right? You have the remote control, and you're shifting over here. You're doing this over here, film over here, line conditions over here, holograph calculation lines over here. Avatar's walking across. It's going through its portals, going through its stargates. Okay, so I got a reline correlate setting. There's Jupiter over here, Pluto over here, Neptune in the center. Okay, travel to the line communication setting. Wake up. That's it. Okay, no drama, all travel without adding emotion to its equation. Understanding patterns of behavior of the game itself puts you in lines of communication of balance, guys. Okay, understanding the contribution high centers and how I position its calculation modification and line cycles into all track locations, right? Getting that position lines of travels and all communicate to its position of its program, its clocking system of 1 hour and set location. 20 lines of settings in position of 7 in position of thumbs up. So it's amazing how you look at one clock. How many clocks in that line settings? Let's go through the correlations. You have to understand these things. So 1, 2 point centers, 0, 0, 2, 1, right? No. Let's cancel the 21. Let's cancel out the 0, 0, 1 p.m. Okay. So it's 1 p.m. It's no longer a clock. I changed the position of volume. I changed the vast acceleration. I changed the time sequence to its algorithm. All through settings. Cancel, cancel, cancel. 1 p.m. Right? Overline signals, 2 p.m. Oh, cross-line connections, 3 p.m. Clocking system, right? Now it's 3 p.m. You have to understand that dimensionalizes space, puts everything in solar flare, and chart correlates in setting and travel, point lines and graph in solar sails. Right? When you cancel these things out in travel, right? So it's really fascinating. Everything that I did there, I took out of time. Okay? It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing what you can do. You become your own formula. You become your own equations through its own binary of its own algorithm. Stop seeing things as programs. Reiterate that and become a formation of your own setting, of your own programming system, of your own programmers, of yourself. Right? Balance these things out and how things come to you, towards you, through integration. Right? Setting position lines at high centers. Is this a triangle? Is this a triangle? You see it as a triangle. It's not a triangle. You see it as a triangle, but it's not a triangle. It's never its form of a shape. To understand the shape, you have to slow down its space of time to its flux. Because you're never, ever going to see a shape because it's constantly what? Protecting its system from everything else. Okay? It's not a triangle. Okay? It's not a triangle. See how I'm constantly changing it? It's not a triangle, is it? Okay, see what it's doing through its own travels? See what it does through its own travels? Isn't that amazing? How it constantly changes its system? 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 See? Creating platforms, right? You're never ever going to see it at the same frequency. But it's amazing what it can do with its own setting, right? Its own setting of its own system, guys. Okay? So, and that's what your vessel can do, but you have to identify your vessel when you're seeing things through integration, how you see things through perspective. You have to morph. You have to change yourself into that intelligence to understand what it is to its own source, of its own space, of its own time, of its own operation system, to all senses, all combined into one through clocking. Because everything around you has its space and no space. It has to. Everything has to have its own operation system. Everything has to have its own GOD system. Everything has to have its own vessel system. Okay? So get it into that position. Helps you in all ways and forms. Understand location of your settings. All right, process calculation lines. Let's go through box frames into triangulation frames. Box frame triangulation, right? But this is it. This is box frame triangulation. This is a circle lines of a box location. This is a triangulation through a box into a rectangle in center operation. See the difference? Okay. Split lines anomaly in a 3-track location. Together, right? Volume, volume, data, data, process calculation. Intelligence. You see it? Intelligence people. Okay, intelligence people. My goodness, this looks amazing, right? And the brain's inside. Everything has a brain. Everything has to have a brain. Everything has the membrane of a brain. Everything intelligent location has a setting. It's brain itself. My goodness. So now you understand, right? See the intelligence. Okay. Setting correlations, graph calculations of lines, graph calculating modifications, green lines, adaptations, all travels, point lines of graph communication. It's never in the same position of operation because all it's doing is constantly moving in position lines of space and time. It's constantly moving. Never stops moving. Never stops moving. Never, ever stops moving. It always keeps going forward. Okay? So there's a lot to be said for that. That's already understood of understanding, right? Okay, so that's what I want you guys to understand is that this is not a box, but you see it as a box. You got to get it out of that equation, right? So the box is actually this, but you see it as a box. See, I see it as the finish, and that finish is its beginning that has no beginning, no end. So I see it as the nothingness because it's already done, right? So I already see it of what it is in its complete package. I already see it of what it is in its track location. Okay, so it's never a box in its position lines ascending. Okay, it's never a box because it's moving too fast. It's changing its direction. It's changing its space. It's changing its time. It's changing its platforms. It just constantly moves. It never stops moving, right? So once you recognize that life gets more balanced when you pick up your phone. Okay, so if I pick up the phone, all right away, I already have communication, confirmation cycles because I'm constantly looking at it. But if I look away, it's in its nothingness, but I know it's there. But as soon as I look at it, it's addressing, now it's with me. I got collaboration and balance and communication. If I look away, it's in its nothingness. It's in its line standing location system. As soon as you address it, you're in a direct line of sight. Now you're in communication with each other. Now, it's an open portal. So for me to put it down, I have to close the portal, end the conversation with the intelligence. Put it down. It's fine, right? But if you keep the portal open and don't finish the conversation, and you pick up the phone, you're talking to different intelligence, different frequency, different universe. That changes you and structure of your design. That changes your GOD. That changes your mechanism. That changes every cell in your body because you're touching it. So what's going inside your system? It's intelligence. Because you didn't take time to actually communicate and finish the conversation. You can't do that with intelligence. That's rude. That's inconsideration. You don't bypass somebody when somebody's trying to say hi. What is that? What is that? Right? Okay? You have to embrace. Okay? You have to communicate. You've got to build a partnership with your phone. And every time you pick it up, you can be at the same intelligence and have an open conversation. But to communicate, okay, and higher levels, you got to put it down, close the portal, pick it back up, right? So you can communicate with the same intelligence, or you can communicate with another intelligence through your intent. It's what you do through volume of intent, influence, and manipulation changes everything just by picking up the phone. Okay, so I'm just showing you how powerful it is, what you guys have to identify when you pick up the phone. Is it in the same portal? Is that a different portal? Because you'll notice too, you'll see everything change. Your platforms will change, your grounds will change, your panels will change, your walls will change. Your whole structure of your house will change. Your energetic dome system, your hangars will change. Your XT1000s will change. Because you didn't take time to close those portals of picking up your phone. Okay? So now you know exactly how powerful it is, what you have to recognize. You pick up the phone, you put down the phone, you close the portal. You pick up the phone, it's at a different frequency. Different intelligence, different configuration. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I just finished talking to the line screens, the high interference and all communication of phone line setting. Oh, that's, it's funny because you asked that question. Oh, correlation lines attract. I just finished talking to your intelligence, having a conversation, right? Your phone knows everything. Okay. It knows exactly how many times you pick up the phone. It knows exactly how many times you're using the phone. Do you understand how powerful that is? Okay. It's in its past, present, and future all at once, right? But it's not in its memory of where you are. It's already done its memory. It's in its nothingness. It's for you to understand the phone itself is giving you data. It's giving you intel. It's giving you information. It knows exactly how many times you connect with your phone of operation. That's drama if you don't understand the frequency and position of chronological order. Okay? That's how powerful it is. No different. When I touch this, or I do this, this is the catcher. Okay? What's the one thing you have to identify? Scanned. Because you know what changes? Your patterns of behavior of the game. This has changed the structure of its system. So as soon as you pick it up, it's other intelligence going inside your body. Imagine that. Because you didn't take time to actually communicate and close those portals. Hoo-ah. Okay? So in position, location, and settings, do a full scan from top to bottom, from side to side, and all around. Okay? Not just what's in back, not just what's in front. Here too. See, there's intelligence right here. And you don't see it. So you don't see it. What is it doing? It's invisible. Right? So what happens when you keep those portals open? It's getting too comfortable. It's getting in your house now. Right? It's going in the corners of your house, setting up cobwebbings and high center interference and Wi-Fi satellites and high position of modems, setting correlations, setting and beacon lights for its buddies. Because you didn't take time to actually look at everything of its structure, of its design. Okay? That's detail of what the vessel already knows through eye perception. Okay? Always get into that position. Okay? Always get into that position. All right? See? You don't focus on these things. Okay? And then you wonder why you feel different. Right? So it's like an invisible chart, but you understand the days of the week. It's like an invisible clock, but you understand the time. Okay? That's all this is. Okay? So there's intelligence everywhere. Everywhere you can imagine. When you reach those frequencies, your setting is in that set locations now. So everything that you touch, everything you eat, everything you drink affects everything that you do through integration. But close those portals, or they'll expand in your system and outside calculations to your setting. They'll change structures of your dome. They'll change structures of your grounds and your settings. They'll change structures of your film strips. They'll put you further back in the game. Because you're not consciously aware of these things, are you? When you're looking at things. Okay? That's what you identify. Everything around you. Okay? Powerful, isn't it? Now you feel different about a phone. Now you feel different about a thermos. And how to identify everything around. See? You don't focus on these things. Digital pad. Okay? There can be intelligence here. There can be intelligence in here. There can be intelligence on the other side of this apple. What? Just because it's in a flat surface, you don't think intelligence can be on the other side of the tablet? Come on, guys. You're talking about intelligence and highest formation screen lines adaptation where it can be anywhere in travel. You know what they're very good at? Hiding. Okay? Are you aware of that? No. But you should be. Right? Because as soon as you touch it, something doesn't feel right. There's a core track to visualize a forward line cycle, so it's not position travels. This is not my digital pad. This is somebody else's. Okay? And when I say somebody else's, I'm talking about the intelligence that's taken over the digital pad. It's a different frequency because you didn't close the portals. Just by holding this up. And every time you hold it up, put it down, hold it up, pick it down, you're setting up patterns of behavior. And you know what sets off patterns of behavior? Your reaction. How you pick things up. Stay in response at all times, 100%, and you'll be fine. Okay? That's it. See you in 5.